Then you ready? 3, 2, 1.
Let's do it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. So we've got this man here, George Clements, and what we're doing today is a little bit of a different one. But basically, George is running a Google Ads agency, and I thought it'd be a good idea to just jump on and see if I can just give him a roadmap to scale and just sort of run through the 1,000x leads funnel as if I was applying it to George's business, and also see if we can find some areas that he might be making mistakes that could be, valuable for other people. So we're testing a new thing. So cheers, George, for being a part of that. And yeah, we're just going to kind of rip it and treat it almost like a consulting call, but like a kind of like a mastermind scaling session, something like that. So yeah, cheers, George. If you want to introduce yourself, tell everyone about your business a little bit.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, Leo. I'm super excited about this. It's kind of free coaching for me, so obviously not going to say no. Yeah, my name is George Clements. I run the paid search company, so we specialize in Google Ads for ecom. We've been running for a year and a half now. We're at about 40K a month now. We hit 50K in December. We lost a couple clients due to it being Q1. Paid ads aren't the move. Well, they're not the move, but they're typically not the focus for a lot of ecom brands, just because they've spent all their money in Q4 with Black Friday and the holiday season, etc. So yeah, we kind of lost a couple clients there, and now we're chilling at around 40K a month. Basically, all of my leads and clients have come from two places, either Twitter or referrals, right? So I realize now that I think if I want to scale with any kind of speed, I need to really just master some other channels. That's why obviously the 1,000 leads roadmap has helped me quite a lot, kind of visualize that. And so, yeah, I think the biggest thing for me to get on this call would be a good roadmap of how I can scale using cold traffic, how I can probably improve my offer. Yeah, those things.
Perfect, mate. It's a good spot to be in. How long have you been in business?
Yeah, a year and a half.
1.5 years. That's like not long at all. 40K a month's pretty good. Obviously hitting the peak of 50.
Before then, absolutely nothing. No business experience at all. I was a complete.
And how old are you? You look pretty young.
I'm 20, mate. Yeah.
20. Yeah, 1.5 years in at 20 is quite good as well. Yeah, that's good. So if you were to sort of diagnose your current situation yourself, like in terms of a broad overview, obviously you've done a lot on Twitter and you've done a lot in regards to just getting inbound leads and booking calls that way. I don't know how many calls you would usually book over the last sort of like an average of the last 3 months, but what do you think you're doing right now? And what do you think you're doing wrong right now?
Yeah, so I think clear to me, it's clear as day to me. It's just the main bottleneck is acquisition, right? The main bottleneck is just getting qualified calls on the calendar. Like I know for a fact that our sales system is really good. My sales close rate is very good. It's about 40%, something like that if it's a qualified call. Which isn't obviously like insane, but it's pretty good. And so like I just need more calls on the calendar, as I say.
Is that on warm traffic or?
Yeah, that's the thing. That is on warm traffic. So probably.
Have you ever closed cold or?
Have I ever closed cold? I don't think so, bro. I honestly don't think so. Yeah.
Right. There's a good chance to bring up the Miro board because I think this will be interesting for you. Let me know when you can see this. You got this?
Yeah.
Where did I explain this? So yeah, here we go. It's down here. So basically with the buyer's journey, when you're talking to someone cold, they can basically be anywhere at unaware, problem aware, solution aware, most aware. But as you can imagine, most of them are going to be unaware. Most.
Yeah.
If they're completely unaware, they're probably not going to get on a call. So it's more likely that you're going to be here. If they're completely unaware, they're probably not going to respond to outreach or respond to your ad. But the thing that I'm trying to say here is when you get someone from cold, you're getting them anywhere. So you could get them here, 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 or here. And that's in the instance of this being a buying scenario. When you get someone cold, let's say you get them here, your sales call and your sales process has to take them through each individual step all the way here. That's a long journey. And you can imagine how much energy has to be expended in order to actually get that to happen. When you get someone on inbound, they've probably followed you for like 6 months. They've decided they've consumed your content for ages. They know, like, and trust you. They think you're an authority. They're here, which means all you have to do on the sales call is basically just, they're already here. You just have to kind of give them the price. So that's why you get those 35, 40% close rates. Not to say you're not, Jordan Belfort 2.0 or anything like that. You could be, but you don't actually know yet. So
Yeah.
that's something to be aware of as you go into cold traffic, because I think a big thing that happens a lot with agency owners is that they'll identify the wrong thing that's holding them back. And I think in this case, it's very good to identify, I just need more calls. But at the same time, it's number one, it's not as if the sales stuff can't open up as a new problem. And number two, it's not necessarily the case that it's not already a problem. It's just that it hasn't revealed itself. In saying that, it is the right thing to do to look at booking more calls first, because that's step one. Because if you look at like getting leads, it's a process of just unlocking each door. And this is a little bit early to just start yapping on about this, but you need to unlock this door. Yeah. It's probably even that you need to just unlock this door of even like doing it as well. Because I think what did you launch cold email on Friday?
No, we're launching it today. So
right. So yeah, it's good context that you're sort of getting your stuff ready now and you haven't had that much to do yet. But yeah, like it's tough. Like it's tough to say without having any data on cold traffic. But what's kind of your plan moving forward? Because I'd imagine you're going to do a bunch of stuff to try and get things rolling, right?
My plan in regards to what? Cold traffic?
Getting more leads and cold traffic itself.
Getting more leads, yeah. So the thing is with e-com agencies are, and a lot of people don't realize this, is they're essentially seasonal businesses, right? So when it's the run up to Q4, like Q3, Q4, we're booking a ton of calls through inbound. And this was my mistake. I thought I didn't need outbound because I was messing around for like the first few months of business kind of sucking. And then when I kind of like woke up, like we were in Q3 of 2023 and I was like booking, 5 calls a week, whatever, closing like a client a week at least. And so when Q1 hit, like my inbound traffic basically went to zero. And I was like, oh crap, like if I'm going to get to 7 figures, like I really do need cold traffic. So yeah, what's my plan? Launch a cold email. I really like the kind of loom approach, not cold looms, but essentially trying to get that positive reply and then sending a loom back. That's definitely going to be my, I've got all my scripts written out as well if you want to dive into those. So yeah, that's definitely.
And what's the offer of the loom? Like, what are you putting in the loom?
A case study. So we've got a really cool case study, and we've got multiple case studies in different niches. So depending on which sub niche of e-com I'm reaching out to, I will probably put that tailored case study in there.
Yep. Cool. How long is it?
The script
loom
itself, or the loom?
Like
I don't know yet.
Loom video. Is it personalized?
It will be personalized. Yeah.
I wouldn't do that.
No.
You can do it at the start to get flow. But to be honest, the thing that I see happening 9 times out of 10 when you're like an agency founder and you're trying to do personalized looms to cold email responses is that it completely shoots your speed to lead in the foot, like really badly. And it will end up that you just say like, shit, like I've got that cold email reply. Yeah, I'll put it on my list. I'll do it at the end of the day. Or I'll put it on my list. I'll get to it after this meeting or whatever it is. Realistically, for your speed to lead to be good enough to actually book a call off a cold email reply, it needs to be sub 5 minutes.
Really?
Like to get anywhere close to KPI, it needs to be sub 5 minutes. Like I'll see guys either come into 1,000x leads or like I'll just be talking to them for whatever reason, and they'll say like, hey, can you run an audit of my cold email campaigns? They'll have the best stats ever. Like I'm not even kidding. Like I've had people tell me, my cold emails suck. I don't know what to do. I literally can't scale my entire business. My lead gen sucks. I think I need a new offer. My lead gen agency sucks. Everything sucks. And then I'm just like, mate, you've waited 4 hours to reply to this lead. Like, what do you think was going to happen? Because I don't know.
You said speed to lead. What's that?
Like how quick you respond to them.
Right.
And really, you want to call them, even if so here's a little sneaky one. If you're active enough, or if you have a setter, which I would get if I was you, because you can probably afford it, you can just call them. Even if you offer the loom, you can just call them. And the way that you go about that specifically, because everyone says, I don't want to call them, I don't have a script. What you say is just something to the tune of like, hey, this is X, I'm calling from Y. You just responded to an email from us. Does that ring a bell? And obviously it will ring a bell because it's in the last 5 minutes. That's part of the reason it's really important. And then you can just say, oh yeah, basically, I know you just replied, but I wanted to give you a ring because I know you probably get 1,000 emails a day. I just wanted to cut through the noise because I'd imagine it'd probably get drowned out in the email inbox, right? And because they're going to agree to the fact that they'll agree to the fact that they get 1,000 emails a day. They're already going to be pissed about that. And it almost like psyops them into agreeing into the sales conversation at the same time. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like it's like a cheeky one.
Yeah, a little bit of gas.
And then exactly, and then you're in the sales process. Like then they're in the sales
Yeah.
process, because realistically, again, I think if they opt into a case study, one thing is about the level of intent of a case study. You're gonna have to sell them pretty good. Like for a case study to resonate, they're not exactly. They're not going to be in like the optimal state of awareness. Like obviously in perfect world, you could just say, "Hey, do you want Google ads?" And they'll say, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And it's like the easiest sale ever. So what you want to be aware of as you go is like different Loom offers and different CTAs are going to bring in a lead at a different stage, and you just need to treat them a little bit different off the back of that. But all that yap is just basically to say, make a personalized Loom at the start, maybe. If you've got a setter, you can do personalized Looms. But if it's you, I'd probably say, unless you're going to be actually in the email inbox sending them a Loom straight away,
yeah,
I'd probably lean against it, because I wouldn't imagine I would imagine that you would have better stuff to do.
We've got an ops manager. So the way my team's structured is 2 account managers and an ops manager, and so he can be in the inbox like all day. But obviously he's not me, and so I don't think he'd be able to send a high quality Loom. So yeah, I think maybe filming one that's a bit more evergreen could probably work, because he would be able to get that sent off like very quickly.
Yeah, that's good. And you can have subsequences and stuff set up, which I'm sure there's stuff on YouTube. We don't need to talk about subsequences here. But like the thing, again, that you have to be aware of is that the Loom, if it's a really good case study and that it's targeted, the Loom will probably get positive replies. Like you'll get enough positive replies. And when I say enough, like if you're sending good enough volume, you'll get at least a few a day.
Yeah.
And a lot of your speed to lead and the actual quality of the Loom as well is going to determine how many actually take the next step. Because this is something that people really mess up as well, is they'll know how to set up cold email. They'll know how to get a reply. They'll know how to make it positive. But then really all your money gets made here, and like all the way just like down here.
Yeah.
That's what typically, like from looking into everyone's accounts, that is what people mess up. And the reason is because it's so much harder to make a good Loom than it is to just like copy someone's cold email script. And it's way harder to just have all this, like all these good lead magnets and stuff set up.
What makes a good Loom?
Good question. I'd make it sub 3 minutes. I'd sell the shit out of the call. I would really go hard on social proof. And if there were going to be 3 writer downers, it'd be those. Because again, when you're in a cold state, the thing that you're trying to do is sell the positive reply. As in, when they haven't replied yet, you're trying to sell the positive reply. And I always say this, but the reason for that is because you have this guy, this skinny person right here, looks like me. If this guy tries to take a jump 2 steps to just going straight for the call, a lot of times he'll just fall in the river. You can get away with the call. Like you actually can. People think you can't, but you definitely can. I think this probably a better example of this is like closed client.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of steps in the middle. You can't really go like that. And the whole point of that is that when you're here and they haven't responded to you, this is where they're a stranger. You sell the reply and then you sell the Loom.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the thing. So you're selling the reply by selling the Loom. You get the Loom, so they're on this step, and then the Loom is going to take them to the next step, which is them being interested. It's the same analogy that I use with like if you're DMing a girl, you don't say let's get married unless you've really, really got the sauce like that. You're probably going to need to ask them on a conversation. You're going to need to ask them to go to the Manchester soccer game. Give them a lead magnet. Hey, do you want to go to this? Do you want to go to Nobu? Huge Nobu dinner. Let's get some sushi. Really good lead magnet. Get them on the date. On the date, which is the Loom, you got to show out. That's how you get your next 300 dates, which is maybe a second call booked, or it might be an account audit. It might be whatever.
Yeah. What's your marriage close rate out of those 300 dates?
Geez, it's not good. It's not good. Not looking good at all. But yeah, so as soon as you can get that, this is actually how you go about doing that. Do you see how that's like equivalent?
Yeah, 100%. It's about getting sort of the micro commitments before the call, before the sale.
Yeah, exactly. And what I mean by referring back to the Loom is that in the Loom, you want to tell them that there's problems that you can solve on the call.
Yeah.
So if you say about the case study, for example, I would probably include certain things about this brand, which is similar to, you're in the niche because you've done it targeted based on the niche. You say this brand was dealing with these 3 problems that they may or may not have been aware of. And you're going to speak about, because it's tough because I don't know the market, but I would speak about specific problems, whether they're aware of them or not. Yeah. I would just make it clear that, hey, you might even know this. You might not even know this is happening, but this is what we were seeing with like 5 brands in your niche.
Yeah.
And then maybe give away the first 2 and have an open loop to get them on the call. Something like that would be super smooth. And then obviously you have your pre-call stuff to get them to actually show up, which is like, obviously that's stuff that you would have learned already or stuff that you can find on YouTube. I think Matt has a video about that actually. Then you have to qualify them, of course. So
I was just going to say, I've got a decent pre-call workflow. Loom getting sent out when they book the call, going over some social proof again, super short video. Cool. But yeah, my show rates are really high, and they tend to be in ecom.
Yeah, 5. And then you have to qualify them, which this is probably going to come down to your cold email copy is an underrated one that will determine how qualified your leads are. Because if you say certain things, you'll attract certain people. So that's something to be aware of. And also your lead list as well. This is kind of one of the anomalies that's separate to all the other stuff. But then same as the first call, you want to have an open loop to the second call. If you're going to have a 2-call close, give them some type of open loop that says, okay, cool. Give them like a soft pitch on the first call and say, yeah, if you're interested in taking the next steps, what we do on the second call is we'll run you through a personalized game plan. We'll tell you exactly how to do X, Y, and Z specifically to your brand. We'll create a game plan. We'll do a Google account audit, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And what you're doing there is basically just saying, show up to the second call.
I've got a question about that. So in these situations where we get a qualified lead on the call and they actually have they've either spent or are actively spending on Google Ads, cool, we can book in a second call and do an account audit in between those calls. And then we're showing up on the second call with a bulletproof plan of action, right? Those calls almost always close. The ones that I struggle with are when, and we get this a lot, is when the brand owner comes on, they're spending a shit ton on Facebook ads, but they haven't touched Google. So there's nothing for us to audit. And so in those situations, I actually try and close on the first call, but because obviously ecom, they're such sophisticated buyers, it's pretty tricky to do that. So do you think I should be making some kind of like action plan for them then?
Yeah, I would make an action plan based on number 1, a similar brand in their niche that was in the same situation as them. So you can kind of like break down your ICP into like different archetypes. Like for example, if you're going to sell a dating offer or if you're going to sell a fitness offer, you'd have people that would buy it for dating reasons. You'd have people that would buy it for confidence. You'd have people that would buy it for health, like, I don't know, cardiovascular health or something. You'd have people that would buy it for longevity. You'd have people that buy it for all these reasons. So if you know, like on the discovery call, that's like, okay, this guy's this avatar or this company's this avatar that I have. You might have like three to 5. You can create a really personalized pitch. And a big part of that second call is also going to be selling them on the mechanism of Google Ads. So you want to show them really, really clearly, like literally in an A versus B situation, this brand is on Google Ads and this brand is not on Google Ads.
Yeah.
And even better, if you can say this brand in your niche, who is your competitor or something, is either one of our clients or they work with someone we know or whatever. This brand is in your niche, currently on Google Ads. They make X versus you only on Meta or only doing whatever you're doing, and like literally do a side by side and then sell them on the mechanism of why it's a good idea to do Google.
Yeah. No, I can't tell you how many, almost all of the calls that I hop on, we have case studies that are completely comparable to them. So yeah, do you recommend, so I just throw up some slides, in the case of the action plan, I throw up some slides, use a case study that's similar to them and kind of map out what the account structure is going to look like, the campaigns are going to look like.
Yeah, 100%. Like just tell them exactly what you're going to do. And a big thing is like within the process of getting them sold, there are certain pillars that are sort of like things that have to be true for them to buy from you. So they have to think you're better than other agencies. They have to believe in Google Ads. They have to think you're better than their potential in-house team. They have to trust you a lot. They have to think you're going to communicate. They have to have the budget. So these are like main pillars. If they don't believe in Google Ads and they don't believe Google Ads are worth their time, you're going to be screwed. But at the same time, if you can convince them of that, you open up a big section of the market and you're going to get really good case studies because they're currently at zero and you can scale them really quick, especially if they have spend.
Yeah. So last question on sales then. We've got a sales deck that I use, which I basically fill with social proof, and then a bit about the mechanism to sell them on Google Ads, and then a bit about our teams. They know that we're not using VAs. Like it kind of handles all the common objections. I really like it. It actually closes quite well. But my question is, when should I be using that? Because right now I'm kind of just whipping it out on the first call. But do you think I should say that for the second call, or do you think I should use it to sell the second call?
Use it to sell the second call probably, and make it personalized as well. Like just make a personalized kind of pitch. Because if they're qualified, and the thing is on the first call, you kind of want to get them to opt in to saying, yes, next steps. And I've even done, this is really cheeky, but you can actually charge money for the second call. So you can say, I will give you a clear roadmap and actually literally sell them and say, we are going to do this on the second call, or something to that tune where you say, I'm just going to give you the entire roadmap. If you decide at the end of that call that you don't want to work with us, then it's fine. Like you've got the roadmap, you can just do it in-house, whatever. Or if you want to work with us, we can just knock that off the price and just consider it a deposit. Like things like that. You don't necessarily have to do that. When I mention something like that, it's just a tool that you can have that you can draw on. Like, for example, if it ends up that it's a screw head rather than a Phillips head or whatever, you just have that tool that you can pull out and just use it.
Yeah.
It's much lower commitment as well.
Yeah.
So you should be able to get them. Does that make sense? Like this is all the same. It's the same sort of the same shit's going on between each thing. Do you know what I mean when I say it's a door to unlock? So you have to unlock that door with a really good loom. You might go back and audit your campaign and say, we're getting positive replies. We're not getting calls booked. Why is that? And you kind of review your KPIs. These numbers here are just made up. Like they're kind of semi-accurate, but I was just chucking them in while I was on the call. But you will be able to just look at something like this and say, okay, is it my loom? Okay, if it's my loom, what can I do to fix that? Okay, can I make it shorter? Can I make it punchier? Can I make it more actionable? Can I create another open loop? Can I respond faster? Can I call them instead? Can I give them a free bonus for showing up to the call? Like people in tech will just give out AirPods for people to show up to calls and shit like that. Obviously, you don't really want to be doing that, but if you have to go there, you have to go there, you know?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, okay. Awesome.
Easy. That's probably a good overview on current situation and in terms of getting a plan together. For cold email, are you just offering the case study loom? Do you have any other ideas for it?
Yeah, so actually I'll ask a preceding question before we dive into that. Do you think, so I was talking to Christian from CA, and he was saying you should use the same script and test it across multiple different verticals within ecom. So you should do one campaign for fashion brands, one campaign for jewelry brands, one campaign for, I don't know, health and wellness, something like that. What do you think about that?
Yes, that's a test you should be running for sure.
Okay.
The way, I think everyone kind of has a different way they like to approach it. I personally like to start off with a broader list and test the offer. Maybe that's because I'm biased towards I enjoy offers more. But if I was if I was running your cold email right now, I'd be thinking, okay, number one, I'll test a case study loom. Number two, I want to test maybe solving a problem for them. So solve a problem and I'll do it for them.
Yeah, that would be
number three,
or action plan, I think.
Exactly. So it'd be I'll just offer that for free on the email. Number two would be number three, because you've got the case study loom, solving a problem for them, done for you. You've got number three, which is solving a problem for them, done with you, / a protocol. So the done for you is a one-time service. And if I could probably show you this. So you have things like one-time services available. You can pitch the recurring service, but nobody really wants that. That's what you're going to run into on cold email. Nobody really wants that. So you have the solving a problem done for you, solving a problem done with you, case study loom. What else? You can have a freebie. So like a freebie might be 100 free ad creatives, which isn't necessarily solving a problem. Solving a problem is something that you would have to figure out. Like you'd talk to your clients and see, oh shit, all of my clients really suck at this and it's related to my service. I can just do that. Like for example, setting up like Google Analytics tracking or something. Like if you found that a lot of e-com brands really like they could never just crack this thing, but it was really easy for you to just solve in like half an hour. If you think about your cost of goods on that, it's probably like half an hour of labor that you're like, sure, like you get like one of your team members to do it, half an hour of labor. If you're paying $50 an hour, it's costing you $25 a pop to fulfill that. And then you can figure out, okay, if my LTV is like 15K or however much, I'll probably assume it's more. My LTV is 15K. It's cost me $25 to fulfill this good. How many of those can I fulfill before I'm unprofitable? It's a lot. Let's say your LTV is 15K. You can fulfill 5K worth of labor in your CAC in order to get that client and still be really profitable. It's going to be less than that. I'll give you a hint. Because if you did that for 100 people, and it's $25 each, you'd probably convert at least a couple, minimum. Then when you start dialing in that process of, okay, now we've got this thing that works on the front end. So for example, what that looks like is as soon as one of the lead magnets or one of the one-time services or whatever you're doing, I'll use the example of the lead magnets because the one-time service is kind of acting as a lead magnet here. You know what I'm saying? So you can kind of see everything that I'm saying to test in terms of the one-time service, the freebies, etc. Each of those is a type of lead magnet because you're just using it to attract leads. It's just a magnet. You know, it's the same thing. It doesn't have to be a PDF. So you just push that forward and say, this is going to be the thing that attracts cold traffic the best. What I'll do is instead of sending that here, I'm just going to send all my traffic to the one that works on cold traffic. And then the back end is going to fill in the rest. You know what I'm saying? So this works the best on cold traffic to strangers. They're most aware of this problem, works really, really well. Then I can have all this stuff on the back end that's going to convert them. And that's what I mean when I say once the thing works, you really just have to dial in the conversion process on the back end. So you might say, okay, baseline KPI, every one-time service we do costs us $25. We fulfill 10% of them. So if we do 100, we're going to close 10 and it's going to cost us, I don't even know, like 2,500. What do we have to do to convert 20%? And it might be that you have to send them this lead magnet, send them all this other stuff, put them through an email flow, get them in the community, get a setter to reach out to them every day, send them content, put them through a live workshop, yada, yada, yada. And this is where all the other stuff comes in. Because these are all kind of like bullets in the chamber. And then something will be like the spearhead that like opens the gate. And then you just like send all the soldiers in. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Quick question on that. So for lead magnets, I've had the most success over my career doing kind of like mini courses within Notion. So like 7-figure Google Ads setup in Notion, or I don't know, like best search campaign, you know, yada, yada, yada. And then I tried doing.
Is that warm though? Stuff. Is that warm?
That's coming from organic, like organic.
It's different.
Giveaways.
It's different. It's really different. You can give those things away. Cold email, I've not seen long lead magnets work as well. If you're running paid ads, it's a different story again. Because like on paid ads, you can give away a free course. It doesn't matter how long it is as long as it's really good. But on cold email, it really has to be fast. Because if you think about someone who's sitting in their inbox, like their cold email inbox, they could not be getting out of their cold email inbox any faster. Like think about when you're scrolling through your emails, you're literally, can you see my mouse? You can't see it. But you're clicking around trying to think, is there anything that I absolutely have to read, or can I just mark it as read and tell it to fuck off? Exactly. So it's really just the fast stuff that's almost so good that it's threatening for them to say no to.
Yeah. So what does that look like?
So that's when I say like solving a problem, the more painful the problem that you can solve, the faster, the better it's going to be. So that's why things like tracking, really, really high leverage for you to just go in, fix that. Because you can fix their tracking. If you're really good at it, it's like not hard.
I don't know if that's my conception of a lead magnet though. That just seems to be like a service. Like I feel like in my idea of a lead magnet, it's more of like a like content that you can consume.
Yeah. So does it magnetize leads? If yes, lead magnet. But it doesn't even have to be a lead magnet. Like you don't like whether it's a lead magnet or not. It's kind of like an arbitrary term. What you're concerned with is what do I have to do and what do I have to say to get a cold customer to like me, basically.
Right.
Because again, if we go back here, we're optimizing for what in the world do I have to say to get here? What do I have to say here? What do I have to say here? And what do I have to do?
Yeah.
And there's different levels, like at every, like everything you do has a later consequence as well. So for example, if you do a loom, the consequence of that is that they're not going to be as bought in. You're probably not going to get them on a sales call either, or any type of call. They're probably just going to suss the loom, maybe watch it, maybe not, and then just never talk to you again. When you have things like a service, you can get them in Slack. Even if it's free, you can get them in Slack. You can get them on a call. You can ask them about their brand. You can figure out their problems. You get some flow. Like you get a good amount of flow. And that's where you can really dial in that conversion process. So it all kind of, it's all in one ecosystem where all this stuff is just helping each other to make it work.
Yeah, I still think that if I'm going to do that, I would want it to be the audit, because the thing that throws me off about the whole analytics thing is like, that's going to be a problem for maybe 10% of the people that I reach out to. But the audit is something that everyone can benefit from as a one-time service.
That's good. And the reason that's good is because you're going to have something like this. This is like just a random example. For every 100 of your ideal prospects, there's going to be a couple of key problems. You want to choose the one that's the largest segment to get the best campaigns, the most clients.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So for example, Hormozy, right now they're running ads for school. They've got ads running that are for the partner model. They've got ads running for, hey, you can monetize your audience doing this. They've got ads saying you can make your first money online doing this. They've got ads saying you can transfer your old community onto this. And what they're trying to do is say, hey, there's this problem, this problem, this problem, this problem, and this problem. Let me just do this because I have a couple of different GTMs, which are go-to-market strategies. So that you'd be correct in saying that. I agree with that. As long as what you're saying is correct when you think like, okay, maybe this many people have the audit problem. Maybe this many people have a tracking problem. Maybe this many people have another problem, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely believe that's true. And it wouldn't, you know, it's not like we're doing the like most unreal thorough audit. Like we just want to kind of identify if there's like glaring problems in their account, because that's enough to get them on a call. Or if we get them on a call first, it's enough to get them on a second call, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah, you just have to figure it out. Like, especially because you haven't launched, your main imperative now is just figuring out what do I have to say, and like what are my baseline KPIs so you can improve them. And that was going to lead me to the 5th test that I would run, which would be a free trial.
Yeah.
Like 30 days ad management or whatever. Like there's a million things that you can do really. I wouldn't jump straight to that because obviously that's a high cost of goods.
Yeah, that's definitely, COGS crazy.
But it works. It works. It works real well. And this is what people suggest when like Peter Thiel says there's no profit when there's competition. Like you're not going to get like a crazy million X ROI. You're really just you have to really like optimize all of these things to like minimize your cost and then just like maximize the value. You have to use a lot of leverage. So for example, when I was talking about the ad creatives, the way that you make that worth it is you just use AI. Like you'd pay like 10K to some AI guy to build an AI model that was really, really good, that you could just like sling these out over and over. Like for example, we use one that's a cold email one. So it's a lead magnet. You put in all your information. It gives you really good cold email copy, like really, really good AI model. And that's obviously leverage because even if you pay for it one time, if it's a really good lead magnet, it's worth a shit ton. And it's not necessarily to say that you have to do any of these things. It's more, if X happens, you do Y. If this doesn't resonate, you have to do this. If this doesn't resonate, you have to do this. And that's what I mean when you're starting out, you don't have much data. It's all like warm. You have to like kind of go through those motions.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think we'll test the case study thing first. The thing is, I know that you don't want to test too many things at one time. So like, I think it's better to test sub niche first rather than mechanism, right? So I want to test, okay, out of fashion, jewelry, supplements, whatever, which is getting the highest PRR. And then when I identify that, then I'll test different mechanisms within that.
Yeah, well, it's just based on your strategy, like I said. So everyone will have a different way of doing it. I agree. If you're going to be testing niche at the same time, don't go crazy testing other stuff. Like you want to make your own strategy where you're like, okay, if I'm going to make this thesis of like, or this testing strat where I'm like, okay, I'm going to go test this, just stick to that. There's like, I think a lot of the problem with YouTube and like the whole space is that everyone's saying you do this. Make a plan and just stick to the plan. And that's why like a lot of these is more about installing a logic of if X then Y rather than fucking do that now. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is as well, like my whole plan, because I know a lot of people, I don't know if they know what they want. Like for me, like I know that I want this agency to get to, 80 to 100K a month, and I don't necessarily want or need it to get any further. Like this isn't going to be my Matthew Larson like main thing. Like obviously he scaled to like 900K a month, which is insane. But yeah, I kind of view my agency as a stepping stone. So I just need 30 clients really at 3K a month average retainer. That's my goal. So we've got, we're what, a third of the way there now. So I calculated that. I just need about like what, 60 qualified sales calls, something like that, 50 or 60 qualified sales calls. So
not that far off.
Overcomplicate it. Yeah, I don't want to overcomplicate it.
Yeah, if I was going to give you, because I'm conscious of time, I've got another call in 3 minutes. If I was going to give you like a closing statement of what you need to do, and we can have a part 2 as well if you want, because I'm conscious this has been quite short. Just send a lot of volume and test really quick, because cold email is really hard, and you get ahead when you go off your own data, and you only get your own data by like going really hard. Like people say like, go send more emails because it's like a kind of like a guru-y thing, but you actually do want to send more if you're going to test and you have a massive TAM, which you do because it's ecom. You want to test really fast. And for example, if you find a winning niche, just hammer it, because when things work really, really well, they work really, really well for like 3 months. And in that 3 months, you can book 100 sales calls easily, if you're doing everything right and you're sending enough volume. But yeah, I think overall, you'll be pretty fine. If you want to do another call, we can probably set something up for you to like go through the 1,000x leads funnel, or even I can make that and I just send it to you. But yeah, hopefully this was valuable.
Mate, yeah, it was amazing. Got some real clarity on what I'm going to do with the cold stuff. So yeah, I appreciate it.
No worries, mate. Yeah, everyone else in the comments, let me know if this was valuable. If you thought it sucked, let me know as well. But yeah, that's probably me for the day.
All right. Cheers, man.
Cheers. Talk soon.